Hello and welcome to this episode of Conversations with Mia. I'm Mia Signs, your host. And in this episode, you get to meet Iris Benrudi. Hi, Iris. How are you?
I am thrilled to be on your show. Thank you for having me on.
It's good to have you on. I met Iris years ago, and I'm excited that she's one of the people that I get to bring to you and talk about our wholeness and a lot of beautiful things. So, Iris has a poem that she'd like to read to start this out, and then we're going to have a discussion on that. Would you like to begin, Iris?
Actually, I would love to, and it's called, I don't have who to credit it to, so I apologize in advance, but it's called Coronavirus to Humanity, Letter to Humanity. The earth whispered, but you didn't hear. The earth spoke, but you didn't listen. The earth screamed, but you turned her off, and so I was born. I was not born to punish you. I was born to awaken you. The earth cried out for help. Massive flooding, but you didn't listen. Burning fires, but you didn't listen. Strong hurricanes, but you didn't listen. Terrifying tornadoes, but you didn't listen. You still don't listen when the earth and the ocean animals are dying due to pollutants in the waters. Glaciers melting at an alarming rate, severe drought, and you didn't listen to how much negativity the earth is receiving. Non-stop wars, non-stop greed. You just kept going on with your life, no matter how much hate there was, no matter how many killings daily. It was more important to get that last copy of your phone, or that, rather than worry that the earth what the earth was trying to tell you. But now I'm here, and I finally made the world stop on its tracks. And I've made you finally listen. I've made you take refuge. I've made you stop thinking about materialistic things. Now you are like the earth. You're only worried about your survival. How does that feel? I give you fever as the fires burn on earth. I give you respiratory issues. Pollution fills the earth's air. I give you weakness as the earth weakens every day. I took away your comforts, your outings, the things that you would use to forget about the planet and its pain. And I made the world stop. And now China has better air quality. Skies are clear blue because factories aren't spewing pollution into the earth's air. Water in Venice is clean and dolphins are being seen again because the gondolas that pollute the water are not being used. You are having to take time to reflect on what's important in your life. Again, I'm not here to punish you, I'm here to awaken you. When all of this is over and I am gone, please remember these moments. Listen to the earth, listen to your soul. Stop polluting the earth, stop fighting among each other. Stop caring about materialistic things and start loving your neighbors and start caring about the earth and its creatures. And I just want to take a little bit of a pause for our listeners to just take that in. And what does that mean to you? Not as a place of punishment, but what's that wake up call telling you?
It's interesting. It's absolutely one major point of view, and it's a beautiful poem to bring us back to ourselves, to center. What does that poem arise in you?
Oh, for me, this has been this whole, I mean, put aside the suffering and the deaths. This isn't about discounting those, that does exist. But on the flip side, it's been a whole awakening in me. My partner can't teach running 3 times a week. My son can't go to hockey and yoga. I can't run to dancing. And so we're having every meal together. We're peeling vegetables and cooking and, emptying the dishwasher and going for walks. It's been a whole, I call it like when your hard drive crashes on your computer.
Mhm.
When you get it going again, you've got to remove the viruses, a new operating system, and it's an opportunity for us to get rid of viruses literally, but also figuratively. What are the things that have been running our lives in terms of what are you chasing? What are you running after? What's that thing that keeps you from sitting still long enough to actually enjoying the moment? And that's what it's done for me. It's had me slow down. Even on going for walks at one point, I told my partner, why am I walking so fast? Like there's a part of me that wants to get the cardio in, but at the other side, I get a chance to enjoy the little flowers that are coming out. I mean, it's spring here in Toronto, so things are just starting to bloom, and look at things that I haven't seen before. All the things pre-corona, I was in too much of a rush. I had to get in my cardio so I could get back home and do my admin and cook and see clients and all those things that had me on this treadmill of rushing. For me, it's just a new recalibration.
Right? It's a rebirth, isn't it? It's a rebirth.
Yeah, rebirth into something, a new
Yeah.
world, not
Hmm.
the same world, a new world. And we just get to choose. I think it's just simply giving us a choice because we have to experience something different.
Yeah. It's amazing because this is the most glorious time if we look at it. We don't know what's on the other side, but it's an amazing time to have this rebirth experience, to go within, to silence probably 99%, and we're not going to get into the point whatevers, but about 99% of the people are not present in stillness, at least, around the globe. So it's an interesting space to identify and to move into. I think that this is the space to recognize abundance. This is a space to rebuild, recalibrate, as you said, create something new and different within. I find it very beautiful. I think it's fascinating what's happening.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I'm going to add to it, it's an opportunity to go within and just notice, what are you uncomfortable with? What can you not sit with?
Right.
What's the discomfort that has you go on social media, declutter, clean, shop online? I mean, none of those are bad things. It just
Mhm.
depends on what the intention is. Is the intention to avoid? I work with a lot of couples that are ready to pull their hair out because they're all in the same space. And I also work with single women that are feeling so lonely because they have so much space just for themselves.
Mhm.
But there's a gift in that, to feel
Mhm.
that discomfort and be with it and not run away from it.
Yeah. It is an interesting time with more people. For those who have a lot more people in the home, there's you have to play your cards differently in order for everybody to have harmony and smoothness. So it could be experiencing a new operating system of patience or mindset or something like that. And it's a beautiful time to, as we always keep saying, to create something new that's different in your life. I found this time to be not more difficult because I'm pretty much on my stuff all the time on who I am, but to see others, like my son came home for to be housebound with us, and so it's an interesting space, and there can be anger, there can be gratitude, there can be frustration, or there can be joy, there can be ease, or there can be tightness. So it's really a beautiful personal interdevelopment time if those want to, if people want to see it that way.
Yeah, and the part that I would add for people that are sharing space and are having some struggle, what are you stepping over? What have you not addressed in the past that you could just kind of let go because you were all running in your own directions, that is really getting amplified because you're sharing this space? And what's the opportunity for you to address it, work out a win-win for everyone, and just create a new model for interrelatedness and communication?
Hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Very good. What kind of tools would you suggest people do? Processes or tools?
Well, the first thing is that if you're communicating with someone, and I'm going to talk about not single men or women, but people that are sharing space, is to say something. Listen, this isn't working for me. Do you have a couple minutes so that we can work something out? Right. So one,
Mhm.
you're asking for permission. You're not, most of us get upset. We just need to dive into it. And it doesn't matter if the other person's busy and wants to or not. But what it does is it just ramps up the anger. So you're asking for permission, you're letting them know something's not working for me. And before you even address that, you need to get clear on what's not working for you, not as a complaint, but as what you need.
Mhm.
Right. So it's like, I'm tired of you leaving your wet towels on the floor. I'm tired of you not putting your dishes in the sink, as a complaint. You get to say there's three pieces to it. Is, I would love it. So you're talking about the impact on you. It would make me feel cared for if you would and then insert what you want in the positive. If you would put your dishes away after sink in the dishwasher, would you be open to that? So you're
Mhm.
actually asking them to buy in. So
Mhm.
three pieces: how you feel, what you need, and then asking them if they would be willing and be open to a
And
yes or
enroll
no.
them.
Sorry?
And enroll them.
Enroll
Enroll
them,
them.
exactly. And if it's a no, then ask them for a counter offer.
Mhm.
Maybe they'll do it by 10 o'clock in the morning instead right after breakfast. And you get to counter offer.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll put them away on Mondays and Wednesdays. You get to put them, whatever. You get to be
Yeah,
creative and create something new.
that's great. What would you bring? Because I've been doing this show during the Corona for a couple weeks now, so I want some of your ideas too to share. What would you suggest on the upside, on the positive? I mean, yes, that's positive in conversation and how to handle it, but let's give some tools for people to be able to use now in order to uh, improve or grow in a specific way during this time.
Yeah, and I think, we've been starting to talk about it is sit with what makes you feel uncomfortable. We have what I call addictions with a capital A or a small a, right? So often when we feel uncomfortable, if we're not prepared to sit with that discomfort, then we're running away from emotional intimacy with ourselves. I often hear, because I work with single women and with couples, that the other half doesn't have the capacity to give them what they need. They're not listening, they're dismissing them. That all comes in the range of emotional intimacy. So if
Mhm.
we want to be in a relationship, even if you are in one now, but if you want to have a relationship where you have emotional intimacy, you have to expand your capacity with a whole range of emotions. We usually grew up in a family who has a limit as to what's okay in our family. We can be angry, we can be a little sad, but then we just have to put that stiff upper lip and go on. Or there's no room for sadness, just go on and do what you're supposed to do. So you want to start to look at, what did you learn in your family that's okay to express, and what are your walls? And
Mhm.
this is an opportunity. You're going to come up, you are coming up against those walls right now. So you want to be able to sit with it rather than get busy and start cleaning the kitchen or go online to see what you can shop, or go on social media or play a game on your phone. Sit with that discomfort. What you'll find about emotions is they're like a wave. It's like being a surfer on a surfboard. The wave comes, you ride the surf, and then it goes down. And the more you can spend time in that discomfort, the greater your capacity to feel a variety of emotions, and the more likely you are to create emotional intimacy with yourself and then with another. So the exercise is to sit with the discomfort and let yourself, that you're not going to die just because you feel anxious. You're not
Mhm.
going to die because you feel lonely. You're not going to die. Sometimes those feelings are so big, it feels like you're going to die. And if you're really afraid, put on a timer, put on 10 minutes, or ask a friend to call you in 10 minutes, and just be in that silent and feel that discomfort and go, oh, not my favorite feeling, but I can deal with it. And
Mhm.
so it expands your ability to be present with anything that comes along, which also gives you a greater ability to deal with issues that come along in any relationships, could be colleagues, parents, siblings, loved ones. It allows you a greater capacity to show up, to listen in a way that has the other person feel heard and deal with it rather than dismiss it.
Mhm. Lovely. I like that. The last part, especially about being heard. Being heard, we want to be heard. That's part of our whole journey into the self discovery because we're not being heard. We're not being, paid attention to. We're not being heard. We have our abandonment stuff coming up. So I like that you put that in because, especially I think for a woman, we've been pushed off, not by our mates per se, but through society. Be quiet, go stand in the corner. You don't have anything important to say. So it is a
Too
very,
sensitive. You're too
pardon?
sensitive. You're too
Yeah,
needy.
yeah, right. So it's powerful to be able to um, counteract, to be aware of what's happening, and then recognize almost that it's an illusion, that it's ridiculous, right?
And the part that I'm going to say is, where have you not been listening to yourself?
Mhm.
Because if you grew up in a family, I was told I was too sensitive, I was too passionate, I was too much of an open book. Those were the parts of myself I kept trying
Mm.
to squish down because there was something
There's a-
wrong with it, even though I didn't know how to be any different. But
Yeah,
I had to learn to listen to those and realize what a gift they are.
yeah.
So ask yourself, what parts of yourself are you not listening to your own self
Mhm.
rather than we want it outside of ourselves. But when we have the capacity to suppress our own needs, it's easier to stay in a relationship or get into a relationship with someone who also doesn't honor our needs.
Yeah,
So there's a gift in honoring yourself.
there is a gift. That's beautiful. That's really lovely. So what else would you like to cover before we say goodbye? Because these talks go by super fast, but they're great and they're meaty.
I'm going to say that, as much as we don't really know it, this whole coronavirus is going to be over before you know it. This is a great opportunity for it's almost imposed on you to be able to sit with yourself and grow your own capacity to just be.
Mhm.
Take 10 seconds, that's all. And just look at a wall and see the beauty in the picture that's in front of you, or go into the forest and see the beauty of the new buds growing. Use this as an opportunity, not as a transition into getting back to what we used to be.
Mhm.
Reorganize your operating system as to what is optimal for you. Forget about what anyone else says. What are you hungry for? And I know for many years I was hungry for space, but there was no room, or at least that's what I told myself.
Mhm.
And I'm creating that space. So, what would be optimal for you going forward, even when we can go back shopping and restaurants and all of that? This is your opportunity for you.
This really is, isn't it? It's fabulous. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Iris. It was lovely to have you on.
Thank you. I was thrilled to be on, and thank you for the difference that you make with your series.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you in another episode of Conversations with Mia. Have a great day. Bye.